you get it, it'll be radically different. When we start the seasoning, put this in stir. See, this was a little softer than the other one because it's a smaller pot and I have a smaller amount. Now, you can see it's soft. And of course, I'm really Cajun. I'm not quite 5 feet. Cajun people, real Cajun people are short. So this countertop was built for Kevin. He's our 6'9" chef. He reaches up to the ceiling. So it's tall for me, but what you gonna do? Okay, so the next thing we're gonna put in the pots is what the French call the pope. The pope is fresh minced garlic. And I think they call it that because the pope wears this outfit sometimes, a cassock and a mitre cap that's sort of a beautiful light butter color, something like this. That must be why they call it the pope. Now, if he ever comes back to New Orleans and we invite him to eat here, I don't think I'm going to call this the pope to his face. He might be insulted. But it wasn't meant to be an insult. It was a little term of endearment. The French love to name their food items. Now, the reason why you don't put the garlic in with the other seasoning right away is if you cook your garlic too high a heat too fast, the flavor dissipates. It disappears. You don't get the garlic flavor. So you wait till your other seasoning is transparent and soft, and then you put the garlic in. That way you'll get the robust flavors and odors of the garlic. And we use a lot of garlic in New Orleans. We seem to have a vampire problem here. So with that in mind, you know, this protects you. So I'm putting that in. Bring my pot over here. I can stir it well. We'll let that cook a little bit, and then I'm going to turn this pot off. We're going to start on the bread pudding first, because that takes the longest in the oven. Now, your recipe calls for doing a roux, which we're going to do in a little while. A roux is any oil melted and brought to a point where you see smoke, and then you add regular flour. So a roux, R-O-U-X, is really the process of cooking flour. The more you cook your roux, the darker and thicker it becomes, the more aromatic it becomes. And the Cajuns are known to cook a dark roux for everything they do. Whether it's a gumbo, which is classified as a soup, or whether it's a stew, or a fricassee, or a étouffée. Étouffée is a consistency of a French stew. They always do a roux for it. Your recipe tells you do the roux, then throw your seasoning in, then add that to your pot. Well, I'll tell you an easy way. I've always done my roux separately, always, even when I was little. That way you see the color change, you know how thick it is and how you want it. And if you were to get a little piece of vegetable that dropped in it and burnt, it would ruin the whole roux. So I always do my roux separately, and I always take the pot I'm going to finish up with, put a little oil at the bottom, and do my seasoning and start with that pot. We're going to put everything in this pot, even the roux. That way you don't contaminate your roux in case you burn something else, and you can see exactly what you have, and it makes it easier to do the roux. So that's why I put my seasoning with a little oil in my regular cooking pot that I'm going to finish my gumbo in. That way it's done, and I can always add to this. So we're going to put the garlic back on the fire, cook that for about 10 minutes, and I'm going to turn it off for now. So I have this on this is on high. This one I had on medium. I'm going to turn this one up. And we'll put the garlic in now. Put the poke in right now. Wow. Alright. So this is a rice dish. This is the only dish we do, the jambalaya, where you put the rice in the pot and cook it in the pot. You can either, a pot like this, an old Magnum-like pot, you can either cook it on a stove like I'm doing, or you can put it in the oven. But we're going to cook this on a stove so you can see what we're doing. Mix your garlic in well. I'm going to turn our pot around. I lost my fire. All my fixings